Today we first had our first day in full pads. We've had some physical practices, even though this was our first day in full pads. Even our uppers, we've had some fairly physical practices. Typical camp, we're getting better, but today I think we hit the wall a little bit. Some things weren't as clean as we'd like them. We've installed a lot here in the first few days. We've been doing a lot of situational work the last two. And anytime you do that, there's a lot of different things that you work on, different situations, different calls, and our challenge is to understand the calls, execute them with discipline and consistency in those situations, and that's kind of where we're at right now here in training camp. But I'll go ahead and answer any questions you guys have.
Chris, you've talked about the importance of taking care of the ball on offense.
Yeah.
What about takeaways on defense? I think you ranked 101 nationally last year. How important is it to get fumbles and interceptions, and how do you work on that?
Yeah, it's everything. And we talk about just our turnover margin. I think it's the best team stat in terms of being able to take care of the football on offense and be able to take it away on defense. We're not good enough in either category, and for us to be able to change the results and have success on Saturday, that's the number one thing that we're working on, is that. And we have periods set up in practice, just the way we practice in general with the defense, trying to constantly rip and punch and strip the balls out. That's a big part of what we do because we can coach and teach and execute better takeaway attempts on the ball carrier, understanding the targets, offensively keeping the ball chinned and tight to the body consistently throughout the day is really important. The hard part is working on really helping the quarterback make good decisions. The fumbles and strip attempts, those are easier to coach, but putting the quarterback in a situation where he's got to make great decisions with the ball. Obviously, it's no secret that's an area we struggle with. Fumbles, we've been pretty good with ball security in terms of fumbles, but we've got to make good decisions at the quarterback position, and we got to catch the ball because a lot of interceptions aren't just bad throws; they're tips. Because of a receiver or tight end or whatever didn't finish the play. So those are things that we have to work on as much as anything. And we've changed up some things in practice to try to emphasize that part of it a little bit more. I mean, it's not rocket science. Be able to take the snap, throw it and catch it and tuck it and hold on to it. That's what we need to do.
You mentioned schematic changes from the defensive line. I think we started out here media day. Is that kind of designed to get more pass rush, maybe generate more one-on-one?
We're always wanting pass rush. And it's more about what our guys can do. We have different bodies than what we had a year ago. Every year it's a different set of D linemen, different strengths, different weaknesses. I think we identified before spring and really after spring when we found out where we were at, what our strengths were going to be, what our weaknesses were going to be. And we made some adjustments after spring based on how players had developed and what we think that they're going to be able to do to play winning football. And we made the necessary adjustments there. But it's not only, getting sacks. I mean, our pass defense has been pretty good here. Our run defense has got to get better, and it starts with having a disruptive D line and being able to leverage the defense, pursue to the ball and tackle. But we have to put our defensive linemen that we have right now this year in position to play aggressive, play physical, also be sound to stop the run.
What's the quarterback competition been like? Is there a guy that's taking a lead?
Nobody's taking a lead. I mean, they're battling every day, trying to get better every day. Again, when we're heavy into install, sometimes it's more difficult for one player to stand out over the other. When we start to get into more just playing the game of football, when things have been installed, that's when we probably are going to see somebody hopefully start to separate themselves. But right now we're just heavy in install and trying to teach them what we're doing.
You said McClain, you didn't get a chance to see him when we last talked to you. What have you seen out of the first week?
He's a pretty smart football player. He understands the game. He's played a lot of football over the years. He gets the concepts that we're asking him to do. He understands the importance of his job. And I really like that about him. He's got some just football savvy to him, some moxie out on the field where, he can every now and then improvise when he needs to and make something out of nothing. And that's really something you can't coach and teach. You really kind of have it or you don't. He has some of that.
What kind of changes in identity has Andy Brew brought to the defensive front that's different from last year? He's an aggressive individual. He coaches every single rep like it's the last rep, and I really like that. I think probably what he brings more than anything is his ability to teach and connect with players. He's a very good teacher. He tries to learn the different styles of learning from the players, and he's not just a lecturer. He's going to figure out what it's going to take to get through to an individual player, and that's what I really like about Andy, is that part of it more so than anything else.
I think it was no secret that you took over more control of the defense last year, maybe some play calling. You feel comfortable with him play calling, or are you going to take control of the defense? How's that going to work?
Yeah, I mean, right now, again, I hired him to do that so I can manage the big picture of the football team. But I'm always going to be involved in defense. I don't want to make any bones about that. I mean, that's my background and what I can bring to the table to help the football team as much as anything. So I'm always going to be involved in defense. There's always going to be things I'm going to tell a defensive coordinator to do on game day based on a feel that I may have or something I may want. I'm always going to be involved in the adjustments that are being made and things like that. That just my background and what I think I can bring and add value to the team with.
Aaron Young, Kayvon Adams, what have you seen them so far?
Really good players. Yeah. Really good players. Both of them are going to help our football team here this fall. I do know that much. What role, how much, I don't know yet. That's yet to be determined. But what I've seen in the first 5 days, they're what we thought they were going to be when we recruited them, and they're probably further ahead in terms of just learning and understanding their position right now. So that part of it's been a nice surprise, but the talent's there for both of them.
Has anybody really stood out to you through the first week that you might mention by name?
There's been several players. There are a lot of guys that played last year that were young that have developed and doing a good job. I don't want to go through the whole roster, but I'll just start offensively because that's obviously an area that everyone wants to know about. I think several of our receivers that played last year that maybe weren't ready to play have really developed and shined here through the first 4 or 5 days of training camp. Bo Melton's really done a nice job. Shameen Jones is bigger and stronger and looks faster. Everett Wormley has shown up a few times. So those guys all played last year a lot, and they're just bigger, they're stronger, they look more explosive this year. The knowledge is there. They understand what we're asking them to do a lot more. Davon Robinson is another guy. We moved from kind of a hybrid tight end to receiver. He's done a really nice job. Those are guys that we need to step up. We need to have make plays for us here this fall, and they've shown that in practice that hopefully they're going to have that ability.
Do you subscribe to the theory that you need to have 1 or 2 guys who you're going to be able to lean on, from the wide receiver group, the 1 or 2 playmakers, and
I wish we had 9 or 10.
Yeah.
But we're probably not going to have that luxury. As we go along through training camp and get closer and closer to kickoff, yes, we have to identify who the guys are that we can trust first and foremost, and put in critical situations that we can count on to make plays that are needed. And that's been a problem for us. At least last year it was a problem for us. And I think right now we have more guys that we can trust based on the first 5 practices. We need to build that pool a little bit, and we need to continue to put them in situations to make sure they're doing it consistently. But I really like our team's speed. I think offensively we're a faster offense than we were a year ago, and maybe not necessarily just on the 40 time, but we play faster than what we did a year ago, and that's good to see. And with the addition of some of the younger players, I think our overall team speed on offense is better. So hopefully when it's all done, the pool of guys that we can trust and count on to make plays is greater than what we've had in the past.
Thanks, Coach. Just to clarify, you said you're not going to get any